An organisation where volunteers around the world working with the international space agencies that contribute to the International Space Station, so that's NASA in the United States, ESA in Europe, Roscosmos in Russia, the Canadian Space Agency in Canada, and JAXA, the space agency in Japan. And we all work together to provide a fun activity for the astronauts to do and to talk to somebody else outside mission control. And principally, we talk to young people to try and influence them and steer them towards a career in STEM activities. How many of you are doing STEM subjects in school? So science, technology, engineering, or mathematics? That's excellent. I hope to see those hands still up at the end of the show, if not more. Okay, so today has been a big collaboration between a number of organisations. ARIS, I've just mentioned, is in the middle there because we're doing the presentation with the contact with the astronaut, and that will hopefully happen at just about 12:30 itself. And it'll be hopefully a very awe-inspiring 10 minutes for everybody to take part in. But today has been about the Girl Guides and the Radio Society of Great Britain. They have worked together to put all of the activities that you're carrying out together, and working with ARIS, we've put on this contact today with the space station. We've also got the UK Space Agency involved as well, and we've got Megan Christian, who is our reserve astronaut for ESA, and who will hopefully shortly start some training to become a real astronaut. So we're looking forward to speaking to Megan later on as well. And finally, we're at Brooklands, and what a spectacular place to actually visit. And I want to extend a great thank you to all the Brooklands staff for all the help they've given us over the last couple of days as we set everything up. Now today we're talking to Sunita Williams, or Sunny Williams as she likes to be referred. Sunny is a great supporter of the ARIS programme and really does love talking to children and students around the world. So she's going to be great fun, so good luck with your questions, but we'll come back to that later on. Now Sunny has been an astronaut for a really long time. A group of astronauts who have flown on 3 different types of spaceship. So there's the shuttle, the Soyuz, and the Boeing CFT spacecraft. And that's going to be the Dragon, the Crew Dragon spacecraft. And that will put her into a little bit of a record-breaking situation as being the best astronaut, or at least the one astronaut, who's flown on 4 or more spacecrafts, which is a really great achievement for Sunny herself. They last for approximately 6 months at a time. But Sunny is, or has been reported in the press, has been stuck on the space station because they couldn't get her home. So the recent spacecraft that went up, SpaceX Crew 9, has got 2 empty seats and is bringing her and her colleague home with her itself. Now when we talk on radios, and I'll be doing a little bit of it later on, one of the things that we have to do is we have to identify ourselves. Just like your mobile phone identifies you by your telephone number, we have to use a special code. And today, that code, there's 2 codes that I'm going to be using. Anybody guess what one? That's right, NA1SS. So you'll hear me announce it. You'll also hear me announce it in the phonetic alphabet. Does anybody know what the phonetic alphabet is? But I'm going to represent where we are today with the call sign that's on the bottom, GB4GGB. Now in the proper phonetic alphabet, that would be Golf Bravo 4, Golf Golf Bravo. 3, 2, 1. I think they can do better than that. I think they can do a lot better. So lots of clapping hands and cheering as well. So let's try. 2, 1. Okay, that's good. That's good. So when the time comes at the end of the contact, That's what I want you to be able to do, because what we want to do is get that noise up to Sunny on the International Space Station so that she can appreciate the fact that everybody here is sort of really into the contact itself. Especially what I consider to be one of the most iconic aircraft sitting outside the buildings. Anybody know how high Concorde used to fly? Sorry? That circle also represents as a line of sight and radio. Oh, yeah, go for it.
Where the radio, like how far the radio is.
Follows the space station in the sky as it flies overhead. But to give you an idea of what that's about, I've got a couple of helpers who are going to show a little demonstration as to what it means. My colleague here has got headphones on because he wants to drown out all the other noise so he can listen to just that noise from the space station. So one of the things I want you to do is come up and take part as well. Yeah?
Get on the microphone quickly. I've just heard.
Okay. So if you would like to come up and...
But it's a little bit garbled. GB4 GGB. This is November Alpha 1 SS. Over.
Hello, Sunita. This is Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh in the United Kingdom. I'm here today with over 100 Brownies, guides and rangers from Girlguiding Surrey West for our contact with you on the International Space Station from Brooklands Museum in Surrey, the original home of British motorsport and aviation. As president of Girlguiding, no, actually now patron of Girlguiding Association in the UK, I want to thank you for the inspiration you show to our young girls to pursue a career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Are you ready for your first question, Sunny? Over.
Your Royal Highness, yes, I am ready. I'm glad to hear your voice.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear you too. This is all really exciting. So, your first question. Who or what inspired you to become an astronaut, and what advice would you have for any of these girls here today who might want to follow in your amazing footsteps?
Well, I think my biggest influence had to be my parents, who are just allowed me or, showed me the way to try anything and don't worry about failing, don't worry about having a little bit of trouble, but just try different things and be encouraged. I think those were my biggest advocates for when I was a kid and trying to do things that were a little bit different. So I would have to say my parents, and I would say to the girls there, that same advice, just try anything and see what you like. Don't be stuck in one thing or another. See what science, technology, engineering, math, arts, what you find that you like and pursue it. Over.
Do you have any free time? And if so, what do you spend your time doing? Over.
So yes, we do have free time, and so a lot of the times we want to look at our beautiful planet. So we have an amazing window called the cupola where we can look down. Like I was looking just earlier and saw this big hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean. Right now we're coming off the coast of Spain, so coming close to you. So those are some of the best things to do, and take pictures of our wonderful planet, as well as I write a journal. Over.
There are many international time zones, so how does time work on the International Space Station? Over.
It's a great question. We have 16 sunrises and sunsets in one 24-hour period, so how do we live like that? We use Greenwich Mean Time because that's in the middle of our mission control centers in the United States, in Russia, in Japan, and in Germany, so we try to keep a normal schedule for us as well as a normal schedule for our folks that support us. Over.
If you were not an astronaut, what job would you like to have instead? Over.
Well, actually, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be a veterinarian. I read James Herriot's books, and that was my primary thought of, I love animals, so I would like to be a veterinarian, and I love science. I ended up going into the military, and that's how I became a pilot and a test pilot. But I might, after I get done with this astronaut thing, become a veterinarian. We'll see. Over.
What things do you like to take with you to remind you of home? Over.
The best things I think we could take with us are pictures of our family and friends. I also have a stuffed animal from my elementary school. and some little pieces of jewelry that remind me of my parents. Over.
What is the hardest part of your job? Over.
Probably the hardest part is leaving family and friends for a period of time, but being up here on the space station, we actually have the opportunity to talk to them, which is great, so we could bring them along with us. But I also do really miss my dogs, because I can't talk to them while I'm up here. Over.
How does the food and drinks you have in space compare to foods on Earth? Over.
Well, you know, it really is no comparison because we don't have the opportunity to eat what we can eat on Earth. So what we have up here is pretty good. Actually, we had ice cream last night after dinner, and I had some chicken fajitas with a tortilla, so it's not bad. Over.
What do you miss about Earth? Over.
You know what I miss about Earth is rain and wind. Like taking my dogs for a walk, that's what I usually get to experience, and we don't have any of that up here. Over.
How long have you been on the International Space Station? Over.
Oh, this is my third time to the International Space Station. Been here about 3.5 months, and we'll stay until February. So it's like a school year to be up here. Over.
What was your reaction when you found out you had been selected to fly to the International Space Station? Over.
Great question. I actually didn't really even believe it. I went through the motions for all the training, but really I didn't believe it until the rocket that I was on started leaving the planet, and I could feel all that vibrations and we were going, and then it became a reality. Over.
What stars or other things have you seen in space? Over.
Wow, that's an amazing question because we can see so many stars. It's so amazing. We don't have the atmosphere that blurs our vision, you know, those water droplets. And so we can actually see like billions and billions of stars in the Milky Way. And more recently, we're seeing this comet. And I think you on Earth can see it as well. Over.
Is space hot or cold? Over.
So I think the question was, is space hot or cold? It's both, actually. We don't have the atmosphere to protect us and blanket us, so sometimes it's very hot and sometimes it's very cold. And our space station protects us from that. Over.
Does space smell of anything? Over.
Yes, it does. When we open a hatch, after a portion of the space station has been exposed to the outside in space, it smells a little bit like burning. So I think that's ionization that we're smelling. So it does smell like something after a piece of equipment's been in space. Over.
How do you sleep in space? Over.
So sleeping is a little bit weird. You have to get used to it because you're floating, so you don't have a bed to lay down on. Sometimes I take my sweatshirt and wrap it around my neck so it feels like a pillow, and that helps me sleep.
What is your favorite planet and why? Over.
Because I can wear my bathing suit. On the other planets, I wouldn't get to do that, and I wouldn't get to jump in the ocean and swim. I think for beauty, though, I love Saturn. I always loved Saturn since I was a little kid. Over.
Have you ever done a spacewalk? If so, what was it like? Over.
Yes, I have done a spacewalk. On my last 2 missions, we got to construct the International Space Station and then fix something that broke outside. So spacewalks are amazing because you're in your own little spacecraft, but it's also a little scary. You want to make sure that you're always tethered to the space station itself. But it's really rewarding when you can fix something outside and then come back in. Over.
The spacesuits look very heavy. Are they uncomfortable to wear? Over.
Thank you to the Duchess of Edinburgh for inviting us to this event today. November Alpha 1SS. Over.
November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra. This is Golf Bravo 4 Golf Bravo. We have you on speaker now, Sunny.
question that we heard wasn't quite answered, was it?
It was.
Is it uncomfortable to wear a spacesuit? I think was that last question. I haven't had the chance to wear a spacesuit yet, but I have seen plenty of people wearing them, and yes, they are uncomfortable. But when you think about it, when you're in space, you're weightless. So you're not feeling all the weight, the heaviness of that suit. The difficulty is when you have to do jobs on the space station while you're doing a spacewalk, for example, and your suit is pressurized, there's air inside it, so you have to work really hard against that air that's inside. So your hands have to be very, very strong. And if there are any kind of bits that are digging into you, that can be uncomfortable.
Okay, so who was it that was just about to ask a question? So if you come up, that's it, and ask your question, we'll get Megan to answer it for you.
What is it like floating in space? Have you ever lost anything from it floating away?
And what is it like floating in space? Well, as I said, I haven't been to space yet, but I have done a couple of parabolic flights, which is where you have this special aeroplane that does a maneuver. It goes up very, very steeply. Then they basically turn the engines off, and over the top of this, what they call a parabola, you have 22 seconds at a time of weightlessness, zero gravity. It's also called the vomit comet. Because you're constantly changing between zero gravity and double gravity. But that weightless feeling is amazing. It's a bit like when you go on a roller coaster or you go over a hump in a road and your stomach lifts up. Have you felt that before? But then it stays there. So it's kind of it's stuck up in the air. And it's like that for however long you're there. But it's a really wonderful experience. The funny thing is that you lose all sense of direction. So, for example, when I was on my first parabolic flight, the guy in charge of us told me to close my eyes and curl up in a ball, and he spun me around in a circle, and then he set me down, and he said, "Where do you think you are?" I'm like, "Well, you've put me on the floor. I'm sitting on the floor like one of you." He said, "Open your eyes." I opened my eyes, and I was on the ceiling. You just have no idea where you are. It's quite an amazing feeling. And can you lose things? Yes. On the International Space Station, astronauts lose things reasonably frequently. Because you might forget that you can't just drop a tool. If it leaves your hand, it might end up.
I know, it's so brief, isn't it? It's so brief. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it was a shame we weren't able to say thank you to her. Smile, everybody.
We're on yours.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Hello.
Hello, first speaker.
Professor Brown, who's the board director
Yeah.
of the Society, Alan Messenger, who's the head of special projects.
Well done. That's very exciting. So do you go around and do this or lose contact with the space station
I've
elsewhere?
done a couple of them.
Yeah.
It's not my primary interest, but that's I've done a couple of them. They're always really exciting. I get really keen on getting children into sort of amateur radio. Amateur radio was an important part of what eventually quite a significant engineering career, and it all happened through youth involvement.
Amazing. I remember years ago listening to Radio Caroline.
Oh, yes.
Shit.
We all did
In the
that.
middle of nowhere.
Yes,
I
yeah.
loved Radio Caroline.
We're trying to get people, young people into engineering, especially girls.
Yes,
engineering, RF engineering, because
Yes.
everything depends on people. We get radios everywhere.
Yes.
Your cell phone, everything. It's
Absolutely.
lots of sensors, all kinds of things.
And they can pretend to get into computers. Radios.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the girls are really good at STEM.
They really are,
Go into
yeah.
it.
So what Thomas said is the challenge to get them a lady spectrum engineer.
So there.
Yeah, that's our challenge.
Off you go.
Hello. Nice to see you. Hello. How are you? Did you enjoy it? Oh wow, what's this?
This is for you, Mum.
Oh, thank you. How wonderful. That's very exciting. Did you enjoy today?
You're so good.
It's not
Crazy to hear her.
I know. It's kind of like, oh well, yeah. It's like mind blowing, really. Yeah. So what kind of STEM are you interested in?
I prefer like the maths rather than the science.
Yeah.
But obviously,
So you liked the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the film?
I haven't. No, not yet.
I promise you, it's one of the most amazing films. It's really, really good. It's called Hidden Figures, and it's about the women, but particularly this one woman who solved the equation of how to get the astronauts into space. And she not only was she a woman, very much in a man's world back then, when if you think in NASA they didn't even have ladies' loos, there was nothing happening. So, and not only that, she was a woman of colour. So, she was amazing. And she started this whole department, and she went on to do incredible things. She's a very clever, very wise woman, and very determined. But yeah, there was one guy who just suddenly realised that actually what she was saying made sense, but there were others that had claimed credit for her work, and then he suddenly realised that she was her. Yeah, she was amazing, but very exciting. Very exciting women in science, actually. But you had to slightly look for them. They're definitely there.
Hidden gems.
Definitely hidden gems. Yes, but they shouldn't be hidden. We need you to do amazing things with maths and go up into space and do that. It's great to speak to Sunita today. What about you? What do you like to do?
I'm doing biology A level, so I'm hoping animal behaviour. So not really space.
Yeah, the maths, biology, it all leads to something. New discoveries and new ways of thinking about things. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you. What do you like to do?
I like doing science.
Yes.
I kind of quite like the experiments to go with it.
Yeah. Good.
And it's quite cool how the astronauts use all the STEM just to get into space. I think I was really lucky to hear her speak.
Yeah,
meet all
it's
the
very exciting, isn't it? Did you ever see anything about Tim Peake when he went into space? Because he was a pilot. So again, it's amazing how they all have different strengths. And I think one of the things about Girlguiding, Girlguiding really helps to support people who want to work in teams, things like that. You get a lot out of it. And without the astronauts working together as a team, bringing the best out of each other, they wouldn't be able to do what they do. They all have to rely on each other hugely. They've all got different types of strengths, but it must be very exciting. Good. Well, good luck with it. What year are you in at school? Year 5. You're ready to go, yes.
Just a little.
Yeah.
I'm our chief guide, Tracy Fox.
Very nice to see you, Tracy.
And I'm very honoured to present you with a badge for being our patron.
Oh, thank you.
A new brooch today.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to have to replace this one.
It is.
That's lovely. Thank you so much.
Honoured to have you as a patron. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
so kind. Thank you. Look at that.
I've pinned it on.
And that's fine. I'll leave it in. That's great. Thank you very much indeed.
It's unique.
Yes,
unique.
it's
One of a
really
kind.
Well,
Oh, thank you. I should treasure it. I should wear it often.
Replace it.
Yes, we'll have to go into the box now.
May I introduce my new chair of the board, Denise?
Hello, chairs to just be themselves and to explore and to experience. And then, of course, with the Girlguiding, it's a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more self-awareness. And then, of course, the leaders, well, it's all sorts of things are important by them.
And we hope that we can be inspiration as volunteers for this generation to stay with us as adult leaders. To us in little while, really inspired to be us.
Absolutely.
And girls and women supporting women in the future.
It's important.
And Ma'am Laura's been instrumental over these last couple of years to bring today to fruition.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been amazing. Just seeing all the girls kind of so excited to hear.
It was the forest of hands that started to go
Yes.
up. And a little bit tentative to begin with, and then it's like, no, I really want to ask a question.
And we won't have time to get through all of them. But she was
And I love the toilet question. Who wasn't thinking about
Yes,
that?
yes.
we knew it was
Yes.
going to come.
Yes,
Somebody was
absolutely.
going to ask.
Well, it's actually a very important, fundamental question.
Yeah. Probably the most interesting one. That's what they want to hear, don't they?
That and having a shower. I
Yes, yeah. But Sunita was so chatty as well.
She was really
long
lovely.
responses to the questions.
There were so many questions I wanted to ask her, and I knew I was going to be given a script, and I had to stick to it. It was like, yeah, okay, all right, I have to ask you this question, but there's some others I really want to ask.
Yeah, that's 10 minutes.
Nice to see you. Hello.
Mike Bannister, our Vice President. Annette Hetherington, who deals with STEM, and Tom Corrie, who looks after our schools learning.
Yes, well, I was here last year and had
That's
a
right,
really good look
indeed.
around about what you're all doing here, which is great. Continuing that.
Thank you very much.
Look, you like going up in space, don't you? Who's this in a t-shirt?
We're talking to astronauts. Very exciting. It really was super exciting. Hi, you having a lovely time? Yeah, we are. Thank you. It's a lovely museum, isn't it? Such fun. I used to bring my children.
Yeah, did you?
Yes, absolutely. I loved it. Take care.
Lovely to meet you. Well done. Good job.